Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barden, and thank you for tuning in. We are here for Monday market moves, what happened last week in the markets, and what I expect for next week. Alrighty, let's go to the charts. Starting out as always with the S&P 500. Okay, so getting close to all-time highs again here, up 4% for the week. Basically, all-time highs are going to be around 56.70. I think it'll probably hit that. We'll see what happens when the Fed cuts interest rates September 18th, Wednesday of next week, and it should be exciting. The dollar continues to trade just kind of in this box here. I expect that the dollar will probably go down when the Fed starts cutting rates, but it's basically flat for the week. We've got this is one of the major levels of support right here, is this 200 weekly moving average right there. RSI is kind of low, so it would indicate that technically it looks like it's going to go up, but with the with what's going on macro wise, I think it's going to move down. The Japanese yen carry trade is unwinding. In other words, the Japanese yen is getting stronger. Last week it was at 142. This week it's at 140.5. So the yen is getting stronger, which would make the dollar weaker because the Japanese yen makes up, what is it? I think it's 13.6% of the DXY. So the stronger the Japanese yen gets, the weaker the dollar gets. And on top of that, you know, they're raising rates and we're lowering rates. So we'll see how that one plays out. And the 10-year yield minus the 2-year yield. So we're getting weekly closes here above this zero line. So we're finally exiting upside down clown world, and we're moving back into normal times when long duration debt pays more than short duration debt. And I think, you know, one thing that makes me think that this could go sideways here for just a bit is because we have the 200 weekly moving average, which is pretty strong and it's sloping down. But we got a lot of these coming up and a lot of fundamentals here that are just going to, I think, crash this right through. And that's when the recession typically starts. And the 1-month treasury is finally breaking down. So for a year, it just paid 1.38% like clockwork. And it finally got some weakness. We're basically down to 5%. I expect next week to blow through that and probably get either down to like 4.75, maybe 4.5. I think this is going to slope down, which is very indicative of a recession and a possible market starting to melt down a little bit. If you want to know how to take advantage of this, check out Lobo Tigre's free report. He calls it his Market Crash Survival Kit. We have the rate cuts coming up, an almost certain recession that has historically been bad for stocks. I think it's important to have a game plan ahead of time instead of making these emotional decisions when all you see is red on the screen. You can check out his free report in the link in the notes below. All righty, and story of the week, gold is making new all-time highs again. Closed the week at 26.10. Just fantastic. Love seeing no resistance above it because it's never done before. Just love it. It is up 3.4% for the week. Last week it was 25.25. This week it's 26.10. So just still going. It is getting pretty overbought on all the technicals, but with the rate cuts coming up, I expect it to continue to climb. And gold divided by the S&P 500. Gold underperformed the S&P 500 this week by 4.3%. Last week, the ratio was 0.467. This week, it's 0.464. Just waiting to give above this 50% line here, and then I think we're off to the races. GDX divided by gold itself. The miners outperformed this week by 6.8%. CEF is up 5.5% for the week. I took a little bit of profits off this one, got this years ago, and I took a little bit of profits off the table and put it into something that I will show you here shortly. But I could tell you this one's up 5.5% for the week, and I did not make 5.5% on the one I put it in. So hindsight being 2020, should not have sold. I didn't sell the whole thing. I just sold a little bit of it. GDX up 10.4% for the week. Coming up on some resistance, just a little double top right here. But I see a lot more resistance back here around $41.60. GDXJ, same kind of thing, only more, up 14.9% for the week. Coming up on, I guess that'd be a triple top. But the next level of resistance is going to be back here around $52. Franco Nevada is up 6.1% for the week. So all these gold stocks just doing fantastic. Had a little reversal there on Friday. But if gold continues to do well, this will do even better. And you know, this is the #1 gold royalty company on the planet. So I think any retracements, if you don't have any down here around like 117, see it create kind of a triple bottom there and line up with the 200 moving average. I think that's a nice entry point, and then a stink bid down here around 115. Wheaton Precious Metals tapped on all-time highs that we had back here in July of this year and hit it again, and then came right back down. Not a coincidence that it touched that almost exact price point. You know, traders like me and, you know, algorithms, that's what they're programmed for, and they hit. So up there, if gold and silver go up, this is going to go up exponentially. Just a fantastic company. I love it. Their dividends are increasing 10% every year, and I think they'll do very well in the gold and silver bull market. So resistance basically going to be right there. What is that? 63.20 or so is the all-time high for resistance. Gold Royalty Corporation up as much as GDXJ, 14.9% for the week. Just fantastic. Made a couple of purchases here week before last at, what did I get it at? $1.24.5. Got down to 119, 118. I guess I could have been like a little bit more patient, but you know, I also can't see the future. Yeah, looking fantastic. Love this company a lot. I think it's going to outperform in the gold bull market. Origin Royalties up 4.3% for the week. Still looking great. I think any retracements down here to this white upward channel trend line are a good buy. Our target upside on this is going to be $1.33 on the over-the-counter ticker. Barrick Gold up 9.7% for the week. Kind of have some resistance now, kind of a bearish reversal bar to the downside. But, you know, if gold goes up, that's not going to matter. So we basically have resistance now, and then we have resistance again up around here, around 23. Newmont up 6.7% for the week. We have resistance now, and then we have resistance up here around $56. Agnico Eagle, this is just our little darling, the best gold miner on the planet, in my opinion, up 8.2% for the week. Pretty stretched technicals. RSI is at 64, so not quite there yet. We basically have resistance now, and then the next real level of resistance, if I go back way over time, is going to be around $88. And B2 Gold is up a lot, 19.25%. I was saying for a while that I like 250 as an entry point. I wish I would have taken my own advice and done it. I know a lot of you guys did, so I cover it here. Blew through the 200, it just blew through every moving average, right? If there is a retracement here in gold and it touches back on this white line, I think that might be a nice entry point, but basically all the moving averages are taken out. RSI is at 68. So looking a little stretched. Next level of resistance is going to be about $3.35. And G Mining Ventures just killed it, up 24.6% for the week. Next level of resistance is going to be this all-time high around $7.92. They had some fantastic news as far as technically it bounced right here on the 200 moving average and then just shot up. So love seeing that. They purchased one of BHP's asset, Central Gold, down in Brazil. It's got 1.7 million ounces indicated. Reading from their press release, G Mining has agreed to purchase the Central Gold project from BHP in exchange for a 1% net smelter recovery royalty on the first 1 million ounces of gold produced at the project and 1.5% NSR on gold production thereafter. The transaction is expected to close in Q1 of 2025. So that is awesome. Just get on the train, keep it running. If you want to find out more about companies like this, like we did from Rick Rule back here, almost a year ago, we will be back in the Rule Classroom Plus next week, September 19th at 12:30 Pacific time, where you can ask the expert yourself. Rick Rule and I will be taking your company questions and anything else you want to ask. I would recommend starting off with the Rule Classroom because it's my favorite price, which is free. And if you're a serious investor, then consider joining the Rule Classroom Plus. That is $30 a month, which is almost free. Link is in the pinned comment below. I hope to see you there. And Rio 2, Alex Black, CEO, interviewed him several times. This one is getting pretty exciting. We got their construction is hopefully starting soon. He said that they'd like to do construction around September, October, because that's when the weather is good there. They can only build on this thing certain times of the year, and we are approaching that time right now. Hopefully they've completed their financing so that they can start construction. Yeah, I mean, they're at 14,000 feet. So, you can't go up there year round like that to build this thing. But I don't really see any patterns here other than it seems to kind of be obeying this 100 moving average as we're going up. But I think any accumulations, on weakness here over the next few weeks might be a decent entry point, maybe somewhere around here like 38 cents. And silver, maybe this is the story of the week. Up 10.3% for the week. It's holding above this 200 moving average. It is holding above 26, which is fantastic. Next level of resistance I see is going to be up here around 32 and then 32.50. But the real resistance, if we go back, I'll have to go back to the weekly, but I did it before. It's basically around 34.50 to 35 is going to be, I think, like kind of the next real resistance here. One part that has me slightly worried is we kind of have what's forming to be a downward channel right here. But if we break through that on Monday, that's not going to mean a thing. So silver is looking fantastic, like it a lot. And the gold divided by silver, so this is the gold silver ratio. Last week it was 89 to 1. I thought it would continue to go up a little bit, maybe getting into the low 90s. Happy to be wrong. And it shot down, closed the week at 84 ounces of silver to get 1 ounce of gold. Blew through that 200 moving average and the 50 moving average. Maybe we'll just continue to see this go down. Next kind of level of support, like real support, is going to be around 79. Maybe 78. And First Majestic Silver, this one performed the best out of everything we're pulling up this week, up 32%. So I guess it took a little while for people to kind of analyze the Gatos acquisition. And then on top of that, silver moved up 10%. And, like I said, this one's extremely leveraged to silver. So this one just shot up 32% for the week. Next real level of resistance that I'm going to be looking at here is around $8.25. That kind of lands up with a lot of support back there. We've got a bunch of little baby ones coming up here. $6.50 around there, but that's kind of the major one that we're looking at. And SILJ is up 18.2% for the week. This one, I remember last week we were talking about a lot of setups here on the silver stocks, and we're waiting for this to come down, touch the 200 moving average, and then bounce up. Well, we got darn close, but never quite got there. So I never got any of these trades in. Sometimes I get just a little too cheap on stuff like this, but anyways, came down basically to the 200 moving average and then bounced up. Yeah, that was a bummer. Kind of missed that one. And Pan American Silver up 13.8% for the week. Had the same kind of setup right here. Didn't quite get to the 200 moving average, but we got a rising 200-day moving average. We have a increasing volume here. This is looking very bullish. SILV, same kind of thing. This was the only like textbook one right here. Touch the 200 moving average. Monday was your buy point, and then you just make 13% like it's easy. I'm not going to be buying any more of this. This, I think, makes up about 25% of my silver portfolio, at least in the stock market. So if anything, I need to trim this, especially coming into what's likely going to be a recession. Yeah, I think my next target points are going to be above $10 here, and I'll probably trim a little bit more. Endeavor Silver up 29.5%. Same setup, 200 moving average, off to the races. I mean, just fantastic, looking great. I don't own this one, but I know a lot of you guys do. Got it from David Skrika, and yeah, this thing seems to be playing out quite well. And copper, paging Dr. Copper, up 4% for the week, hoping this upward channel white line just trend line holds. We'll see. Gareth Soloway doesn't think it will. He's usually right, and he's been right on oil, which he's been saying he thinks that he expects a sell-off in oil, and oil's been doing the same. But for the moment, we're above the 200-day moving average. We have the 50 sloping down here. Technicals are middle of the road. My bias for the next week is to the upside. COPX up 7.2% for the week. So I had a perfect little double bottom right here. So that was a second chance if you didn't get this one. Just coming right in there and bounced right up. I have immediate resistance right here on the 200 moving average. And Kevin says, interesting on COPX head and shoulder pattern from April 3rd to July 18th. Drop takes it to about 35.46. I bought in too early. Now I have to wait. Thoughts? Okay, so let's tackle these one at a time here. We got head and shoulders pattern, and I put these two green arrows. These weren't entry points. I just marked the days that he mentioned, and yeah, I see the same thing. This is a head and shoulder pattern that I am familiar with because it kind of follows that. It's horizontal and easy to spot, right? And Joe, I looked it up, and you're right. Head and shoulder patterns can be while it's sloping up, and they can be while it's sloping down, and same for inverse head and shoulder patterns. And in some cases, it can be more bullish or more bearish depending on the direction that they're going. So kind of cool here. Now, as far as measuring, Kevin, the way I measure it, and maybe you guys know better than me, but I basically go, so that white line right there that you see at $43.50 is the neckline. And if you measure from the top of the head down to the neckline, we get, we'll call it $9.25 or so. And then if you do the same thing and measure $9.25 from 43.50 and bring it back down, I already did the math, you get $34.25. So I think it's got more downside if this head and shoulders actually plays out like that. We'll see. Forming up a new pattern with a double bottom there, I would kind of negate this head and shoulders pattern that's already happened. But you know, that's just me. Now as far as buying in too early, I don't think so, Kevin. I think copper's probably going to get whacked during the recession, and I think that might create some more buying opportunities in the copper miners like this. So I don't know if I would sell what you have now. I mean, this thing pays some dividends. If you got a time frame of 3 to 5 years, which I think everyone should pretty much have, I would simply add to your position. You know, so as we get another technical setup, just like we had here, you can buy a little more and just kind of slowly scale in. If Gareth is right and copper gets whacked, you may be able to get it down here. Like there's some real resistance down here around like 34. And then there's also some down here around 27. You know, you might get lucky. If you guys want to try out this software, TradingView, I would have no idea where to buy these things and little points like this if it wasn't for this software. I know you guys are liking it too because you're using the link, so thank you for that. And I like getting your guys' takes like Kevin just did. You can try it out free for 30 days. There is a link in the show notes below. There's no obligation. If you don't like it, then it was free. So I can't complain about that. I also got a lot of feedback about the technical analyst video that one of the members of the Hive proposed. If you want me to do a video on Head and Shoulders and cup and handles and moving averages and increasing volume and stuff like that. None of the above says yes. Trevor says yes on technical analysis. G says, I would support you making a video where you do deeper dive on how you utilize technical analysis to buy and sell. King Louis says yes, please. Reagan says a technical show would be great, Steve. Thanks for the video. Jeff says technical talk would be awesome. And he put a happy face, smiley emoji. Tim says, I would love to see a video on technical analysis. Ant says an explanation of some technical factors would be great. The Hive has spoken. Stay tuned. It's coming. Arizona Metals is up 8% for the week. Got a limit order down here in for $1.21. That's hopefully you'll hit. Maybe not. Coming up on some resistance here at the 200 moving average, which is about $1.52. Middle of the road technicals, I don't really see anything. Maybe a limit order down here around $1.25 is where I should actually have it. I think I'm just being cheap. Munduro Capital up 7.5% for the week. So shout up, still trading in this kind of megaphone pattern here. Looking great. And uranium is still at $80 a pound, or close to it. 79.55 is what it closed the week at. We are having Justin Hune, our resident uranium expert, back on the show next week. Justin just got back from the WNA conference, and we will get his take on what utilities and fuel buyers are saying straight from the horse's mouth. Be sure to submit your questions under the community tab for Justin. Don't put them in the comments of this show. Make sure you put them under the community tab, so that's where I'll pull the questions from. Also, check out his newsletter. There's a link in the show notes below. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust is up 4% for the week. Still got 65.5 million pounds. I think this is a nice place to store some cash. Well, let me caveat that. If this white line actually holds, I think this is an amazing place to store cash. If it goes below this, I think it's a terrible place to store cash. But I think that white line will hold, so I'm storing cash in here. Looking great. Cameco is up 9% for the week. We had a double bottom in a lot of these uranium equities here. So a lot of these double bottoms played out and then shot up last week. So I see resistance on Cameco at around $44, just lining up with some gaps and stuff back here is around $44. And support is down here around 35, 36. Kazatomprom is up 5.3% for the week. I think anywhere down around this bottom part of this purple box is a nice entry, which is around $36, $37. And nice trade exit points are up here around 46, 47. Prigler says, John Quakes. If you guys don't know who John Quakes is, check him out on Twitter. This guy has forgotten more about uranium than all of us combined know. John Quakes said yesterday that Kazatomprom can probably be nationalized within a few years because it only went public in the London Stock Exchange to get money in 2018. So we don't want to be in a company that's nationalized. That's awful when it happens and you own the stock. So I think, probably going to exit stage left on this next uranium upcycle, which I think is almost surely coming. And I'll probably be exiting towards like the upper end of this purple box. But in the meantime, they pay an amazing dividend. It's only once a year, but it's like 7-8%. And URA is up 9.7% for the week. Again, the double bottom just played out and then shot up. Resistance is going to be around $27. URNM, double bottom played out. Bought some more URNM, got in at, $38.25. Shot up 8.8% for the week. We got resistance around $45, closed the week at $40.76. URNJ, same kind of thing. A little bit of a dirty double bottom just because it went down lower, but, less assets under management, way more volatile. But it is up 11.8% for the week. So we got some purchases in here down around $17. Closed the week at $18.81. I think real resistance here on this one's going to be around $21. URNM divided by the metal itself, double bottom in that one as well. And the uranium miners outperformed the metal itself by 9%. And that makes sense because uranium didn't move and the equities went up by 8.8. So there you go. URNJ, the junior uranium miner ETF, divided by the two majors and the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. It outperformed 4.8% for the week. I don't see really any tradable patterns here other than basically the uranium juniors are really cheap. UROI, our favorite and only uranium royalty corporation, our only royalty play on uranium, is up 9.3% for the week. We got another double bottom down here that played out, which supports around $1.90. Resistance is going to be up here around $2.40. Some people watch the Qs and we watch the Us up 9.8% for the week. Got support down here with the double bottom. Maybe it'll come in for a triple bottom at like $4.25. Resistance is going to be up here around $5.50. Uranium Energy Corporation up 19.25%. Support right down here for the double bottom, right around $4. And resistance is going to be about the same kind of now, and then again around $5.50. And crude oil up 1.5% for the week. And kind of a long-term double bottom. There's a lot of resistance right around here, around where we are now, around $65 or so of oil. Bias is to the downside for the beginning of next week, just because of that bar right there. But if this purple line breaks up, then we're going to go to the upside. So next level of resistance on oil is going to be around $72 to $73, and support is going to be a couple bucks below at like 65.5. And gold divided by crude oil. So last week it took 37 barrels of oil to get you 1 ounce of gold. Gold did so well this week. Now it takes 38 barrels of oil to get your 1 ounce of gold. XLE, our favorite oil ETF. So this blew through. Another limit order here that you guys have had set forever at 86.25 just hit. Congratulations. And the fourth and final one is going to be down here at 79.75. I had for a client a limit order in here set at $83, and it literally got within like 3 cents of it. So that was a little frustrating. But if we got more weakness in oil, then this will correct and it'll hit. Exxon Mobil is up. No, sorry, it's down 1.3% for the week. So maybe this was a bear flag and it hit. But got right into one of our limit orders here at 109.50. At that price point, it is a 3.56% dividend and keep the juice running. Looking great above the 200-day moving average. If oil does roll off, like I think it probably will, then this is going to get cheaper. Next limit order is down here at 101. Chevron up 1.5% for the week. I don't own this company, but I think it's fantastic for dividends and especially kind of in like some passive portfolios. Next level of support will be down here around 136, and then resistance, probably like 145. Blackstone Minerals up 3.8% for the week. Looking great. Support's at 14. Resistance is at 15. And Mithlay says, I'm about to increase my position on Blackstone Minerals. Looks good, even when a little lower. Would you have any guests that have news on the company? Yes, we do. I just scheduled Elliot Gu. He is a oil and gas expert. He'll be coming on the show next month, so we can pick his brain on Blackstone Minerals and whatever other oil and gas companies you guys want to hear about. Freehold Royalties is up 2.8% for the week, 8% dividend, fantastic. Support's going to be down here around 12.75. Resistance is going to be kind of around where it is now, and then after that up around 14 bucks. Petrobras down 1.5% for the week. Looking pretty good. There's a slight retracement here So we had, I guess that could kind of be considered like a double bottom right there, hitting right on the 400-day moving average, which is going up. Volume isn't really telling us anything, but this company has historically paid great dividends. Um, yeah, if you want a piece of it, I think now is a decent time. Natural gas is up 1.3% for the week. Kind of blew through the 200 moving average, which is good. Kind of hitting on some resistance now, but I think we'll probably punch through to the upside. Devon Energy got some more of this one last week. So this is what I put the little bit of CEF that I sold. I put it in here into Devon. We just paid a dividend, recording this on Friday the 13th. Lucky Friday the 13th. And got a 44-cent dividend. So basically, whatever price point I got it at here, $40.14, you can basically subtract 44 cents from that, and that's pretty much the price that you paid, because you got the dividend right after. But in this one, for the long run, I think North American gas is going to do very well, and I like this one a lot. I think it's cheap. Equitable up 2.6% for the week. I think we want to generally pay attention to this downward channel trend line right here. But it's coming up on the 50 weekly moving average right here. The level of support is going to be kind of around there, like maybe 32 or so, and then resistance is just slightly north of that. We're kind of in this little like no man's land range right here. There was a tiny bit of a Fibonacci, if you could catch it last week, and you can see it hit right in there around 31.60 or so. Woodside Energy up 2.5% for the week. Hopefully we found a bottom here. I don't know. We'll see how this one goes. I'm curious to get Rick's opinion on it, if he's done any work on it. I'm not sure if I'm going to hang on to this one. I feel like my capital could probably be better put to work, maybe just in Devon, but be less to study. I mean, that was a pretty tick if you could catch it. RSI down around 27, 28. Birchcliff Energy had a limit order in here for $3.96. And if you go out on the 30-minute one, it actually got in that price range, but it just never hit. So sometimes with these smaller market cap companies, that happens. But looking pretty good. Increased volume like this. Unfortunately, we have the 200 moving average moving down. So hopefully the price will get sent down just a little bit more, and we can get our second limit order in there. And Paydo is up 4.2% for the week. We've basically got support down here. So I probably should have had this limit order up here. And I think I even talked about that, and I just didn't do it. Yeah, right around this 400 moving average, I think is pretty good for a limit order. Shot down and then came right back up. So I see support down here around $9.50, and then resistance up here around $11, but up above the 200 moving average, which is rising, and that's good. And coal, looking at thermal coal, closed the week at 134. Met coal closed the week at 182. We recently had our interview with Matt Warder, so make sure you check out the archives there, and we take a deep dive into coal and your coal companies. And Matt seems to think that the floor is probably around here for met coal, around 180, possibly as low as like 160 or so. But hopefully this floor holds. Looks like this shoulder season is kind of lasting longer than he thought. There's a lot of macro things that are sending coal down in the toilet. But long term, his outlook is exactly the same. Coal ETF is up 4.7% for the week. We've still got 9.5 million assets under management and 470,000 shares. So I probably am going to set a limit order down on this one for like $18. This one I'm looking at as a several year bet. When I initially got into this thing, I thought it was going to be like a 6-month trade. And I think it's going to end up being a much longer bet. But I'm very, very bullish in the long run. Glencore This one is up 2.9% for the week. We got support right down around where it hit. Got some more in at $9.41. And they paid the dividend, shut down, snagged it. Dividend's not great, and it probably won't be for another couple of years, but when it does, it will pay handsomely. This one is interesting. I knew that this one was risky, like politically, but I didn't truly understand how risky until I listened to a book by Henry Sanderson called Volt Rich. And yeah, pretty incredible to listen through that book. And he talks about Glencore a lot and basically the deals that they've done behind the scenes to be able to get these mines. I mean, he goes into child labor laws and all sorts of stuff. But if you want electric vehicles, you're not going to do it without that. So I don't know, take the hand you're dealt. I think if you own this company, it's well worth a listen. It was really eye-opening, but apparently not so eye-opening that I didn't buy more. AMR is up 6.9% for the week. So we hit down here. Basically, support's going to be down around 186. I see the next level of resistance is up around like 220 or so. So hopefully we found a bottom in AMR. I think I'm going to set like a stink bid down here for maybe like 155 or something. You know, maybe I'll do a little circle here so I don't forget to do that. And put it right there. Yeah, I think somewhere, and that's just lining back up with all this price action back here. So not super scientific. We're just kind of throwing a dart at it. But yeah, long-term Matt still likes this, so I'm in. Warrior Met Coal is up 4.8% for the week. Got support right down here around 51, maybe $50. Resistance is kind of now. And then next level of resistance up above that is going to be this 200 moving average and the 50 moving average. What's not great is the 50 moving average is sloping down, which is what they call a death cross. And Peabody BTU took a little bit of a trade on this. So we got in at $20.71. My target price is $23.50, just kind of like last time. I didn't take an option on it. I almost did. And then anyways, I just ended up buying straight up stock. But, you know, if this plays out like I think it will, then it's a quick, you know, 15% in probably, well, hopefully a few days. We'll see. And platinum is up 9.6% for the week. This is looking good. We've got the rising 200-day moving average, increasing volume here. And basically support down here on the white line around 850. I probably need to move that up a little bit, maybe now to like 900 bucks. And then the next level of resistance is going to be around 1050. And PPLT, the way to bet on it in the stock market, same kind of thing. You know, I like limit orders down here around 80 bucks. And, you know, this is a hold for me for a while. We're basically waiting for Russia to run out of this stuff so that the price goes up. And Palladium is up 19.2% for the week. Got support down here around 860. I can probably move that up slightly higher, maybe around there. Yeah, which is still around 900 bucks. Blew through the 200 moving average. So maybe we're finally going to make a run here in some of these PGMs. We shall see. But looking good, increasing volume, not a rising 200-day moving average, but hopefully that'll start. And PALL, same one, the way to bet on palladium in the stock market, basically buying into pallets of palladium in a warehouse somewhere. Limit orders around 80 bucks, but this one blew through that. Pretty exciting, looking great. And the easy way to bet on both of them is the SPPP by Sprott. This is both platinum and palladium. This one's looking fantastic. There's a moment in time back here where you could get it for like $8.75. We're now north of 10 bucks. Hopefully the trend continues. Platinum divided by silver, still historically cheap. You can get for 32.4 ounces of silver, you can get 1 ounce of platinum, and that is way less than it has been in the past. Nickel is up 0.3% for the week. looking still like it's just ironing out a bottom right here. I think that, this is probably going to get hit in the recession, but hopefully we can hold this floor. Next resistance is going to be up here around 17,000 or so, this 200-day moving average. NIKL is up 7.9% for the week. Resistance is kind of now, support is going to be down here around $11.50. Centaurus Metals got a project they're working on down in Brazil. Hopefully they get the financing for that. When that happens, they're probably going to have to dilute or sell a royalty or something. So I expect this one will probably get cheaper once that goes through. But as far as an limit order on this, I think, I don't know, 21 cents, something like that, I think is probably pretty prudent. And iron ore is up 0.7% for the week. Hopefully we've hit a bottom here in iron ore. It's got a lot of nice back support around where we are now. Closed the week at $92. Next level of resistance is going to be up around $100 to $101. BHP is up 2.9% for the week. We got support down at 51, resistance at 54.50. And bought some more the week before last, and their ex-dividend date hit. So I kind of like buying like just right around when the dividend pays, because you usually get a little bit of sell-off and then we get a spike up. So that so far has happened. Same thing with Rio Tinto, dividend paid, got a little drop and then a spike up. It is up 4.7% for the week. So we got support down here around 60. And then the next resistance is going to be up around 64. And the PIC ETF, like this one a lot for those retirement accounts, because you get a lot of these ones that we're talking about. You get Glencore, BHP, Rio Tinto, and look at this perfect little double bottom here. I mean, that just looked fantastic. So support's going to be around here, $36. And resistance is going to be up here around 38. I wrote 38.75. I must have really gotten into the weeds. And Bitcoin is up, as of this moment, 10.5% for the week, up to 60K. I think we're going to continue to have lower highs and ever increasing lower lows as we go forward. Time will tell. We shall see. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys got something out of that. If you would like to see me review your company, you can do so with a donation using the link below on PayPal or a super on YouTube. You get some quick fundamentals and any entry points that I see on the charts. Thank you for tuning in. Support the show and share this with anyone that you think needs to hear it. It's probably your buddy that can't stop talking about tech stocks. You have yourself a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you next time.